Yeah, welcome to this podcast. So I have with me Rishabh Shukla, who is currently working as senior data scientist in takeaway.com in Berlin, Germany. Yeah, welcome to this podcast, Rishabh.
Hey, Manoj, thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. So why don't you tell us about your journey, academic journey, and where have you worked?
Yeah, sure. So, so my journey in started when I, enrolled in, college way back in 2008. After I finished my schooling, I enrolled in Delhi University at St. Stephen's College for the physics honors program. Um, and that is when I developed the deep interest for science and scientific thinking, and especially in more applied problems. That is what excited me the most at the time. And then I discovered about how a lot of mathematics we use in physics is also applicable to economics.
Yes,
um, and that is when I decided to switch to economics as a field.
yes,
Completely, I wanted to switch to economics, and that is when I enrolled in the financial economics course um, at Gokhale Institute of Politics and Economics, because at the time that was one of the most applied uh, economics courses in India,
yes.
and that is where we also met. Uh,
We
and
were we shared the
Yeah,
same. We were neighbors in the hostel, Rishabh, right?
right. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I have no guilt in admitting that you were actually my best friend. During those 2 years in Pune.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think we developed uh, quite a bond,
Me,
and
you, and Arushi Agarwal.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please continue.
and
Yeah,
and
continue. Yes.
yeah, and and we and basically from that during from that time, actually, in during that course, I learned econometrics for the first time, which is so fundamental to data science,
Yes.
and time series econometrics, and 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 also just modeling in economics is all about data. Empirical economics is all about data, and that is exactly what is needed to do well in data
Yes.
science, I think. And although I did not know this at the time, that how useful those fundamentals will be
Yes.
later on,
Yes.
but yeah, life has its ways of guiding you on the right path, if you're doing the
Yeah.
right things, right? So from during the masters, I developed a deep interest in all the applied data techniques, the time series analysis, and even applicable to which was highly applicable in finance, but it's also applicable in other domains.
Yeah, so we
And
had financial econometrics one and two, right? But the point is
yeah,
that
exactly,
you don't
exactly.
learn the applicability part of econometrics until you end up, doing research, which is what you ended up, doing by pursuing the
Yes.
MPhil at IGIEDR, which is like one of the most respected institutes in India in terms of research, right? Research.
Right, right,
So what
right.
was your
Exactly.
thesis about? If you can just give a insight, brief insight, 1 minute.
Right, right. At IJDI, I was working on the financial conditions index, which is basically an index to estimate the health of the economy.
Okay.
So there are various implementations of it, and I came up with my own approach to
Yes.
for that index. And yeah, and it is and it requires a lot of knowledge of time series analysis. And that is where I really, during that time I learned, apart from, of course, these concepts, I also learned programming in R to
Mm-hmm.
implement several
Mm-hmm.
methods,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which uh, uh, which helped me in, later, a lot during has helped me a lot during my professional career as well. And it still helps me. And of course, I can, we can probably do a whole episode on programming and
Yeah, yeah,
data
yeah.
science
Yes.
itself. but
So
but it's
when you say time series, you meant, if I understand, it must have been fractal models, right? Financial index.
Yeah, sort of, yes. So basically, what you do is you model each category of indicators
Yes.
um, separately, and then you try to combine them
Yes.
to get the index. Like, I think all indices are built in a similar way. Basically,
Yes.
uh, it could be, you could think of something simple like the Nifty index. You know, so it is in a way it is like that. But of course, the implementation can be, is where the, the magic lies. And that can depend, on how what you're modeling, right? so
Yes.
um, so of course, for a index of the entire economy, it is not a very easy problem to solve. It is challenging, and you need more sophisticated methods to
Yes.
be able to do that well. Yeah.
So then after your MPhil, you went on to work at PwC as a consultant, right, for 2 years?
Yeah, exactly. So I was working with PwC US Advisory
Hmm.
for 2 years roughly, uh, and from 2016 to mid 2016 to around late 2018,
Hmm.
and during the time I was a data science consultant, and that is when I also uh, sort of, upskilled and learned machine learning.
Okay.
Um, and 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 also, and since I already knew R programming, it wasn't as tough for me
Yes.
as it was for some of my peers, I think.
Yes.
Because programming in itself can be, a little
Yes.
hard to
Yes.
begin with.
Yes.
But luckily, I was exposed to programming both at Gokhale Institute of Politics Economics, and
Yes.
also I, really went deep into it at IJDR, and that really helped me to
Yes.
learn machine learning more quickly, implement basic models quickly, and that was a big differentiator, I think, between me and other folks, because I also had a deep understanding of the time series methods, and
Yes.
that really helps in solving the harder problems, right?
So
Which
you actually had the foundation once you migrated to Germany and you took up data scientist positions,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I worked on several, like around 10 projects at PwC of all kinds, and my strength was really, statistics and programming. So I was usually picked up for those kind of projects, and that is exactly what I also wanted to do. So it worked out pretty well. And then after a couple of years, I was thinking, I want to um sort of, travel the world and also move out of India, and see for myself how, how other
Yes.
countries are structured, what kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunities there are. And that is when I applied to Germany,
Yes.
at the German startup ecosystem, because that really excited me, because Germany is open to high skilled immigrants, um, without any requirement for study or, master's
Yes.
degree in their country. So which was
Yes.
great, because I didn't want to spend any money of my own. So
Yeah.
so so I just wanted to get into a job straight away, and
Yes.
uh, uh, and I had no patience for any more classes, schooling, etc. So I just found a job which would sponsor me,
Hmm.
and I got they sponsored my blue card,
Hmm.
which gives you a 4-year permit to
Okay.
live in Germany and work here basically,
Hmm.
and that is how I started my first.
No, the caveat here is that, you know, most developed economies, and Germany obviously being, one of them, they
Yes,
their system, runs on data. With
right,
every institute, be it at the micro level, macro level, it can be any company, any small company, medium-sized company, they collect data, right?
right,
And
right,
their decisions are, guided based on, data. And so there is actually a lot of demand for, people who have, the skill and understanding of data science toolkits, right? So
right, right,
that is
right,
why I
right,
think people end up high skilled. I mean, people who have the skills end up actually doing very well. So you being actually one of them. So yeah, so then, linking it with your current company, where you're working as a senior data scientist. So can you tell, what is the company about, and what is your role sort of in that, company as a senior data
right, right.
scientist? Yeah, yes.
So right now I work at justeattakeaway.com. So this is basically a food tech company. Uh,
Food
a
tech.
lot food tech company, a lot
Okay.
like Swiggy or Zomato in India.
Okay.
Uh, so so
Okay.
basically, yeah, we have operations in 13 markets, 13 countries in Europe, and also including Israel, and
Okay.
which is most of Western Europe,
Okay.
um, and also also the UK, and and we have our business is the largest food delivery business in Europe, um,
Oh,
and it also makes us one of the biggest players in the world. So
okay.
it is comparable in size to Uber Eats, DoorDash, and and also Zomato and Swiggy. In terms of revenue, also we are one of the biggest players in the world, and that makes Just Eat a significant player in the overall food delivery market.
Okay. Great. So,
Yeah.
so,
I can
yes.
maybe sure. So sorry,
No, so
you
I was
can.
just coming to, asking you about, so what sort of data science toolkit you use in your, role as a senior data scientist, there.
Right. Maybe I'll just step back a little, and maybe first talk about the problems, problem space, and then we can talk about the methods, right?
Yes.
Um, we used to tackle them, right? So since Just Eat Takeaway is such a large food delivery business,
Mm-hmm.
this we get thousands and thousands of orders. We basically have order volumes of in millions, so we monthly we do million plus orders, and that requires us to be able to plan for these orders very well, because roughly 10%, 10 to 15% of the orders that we get, we
Ah,
deliver them ourselves.
okay.
Okay, and that that of course requires us to have our own delivery fleet, and delivery
Okay.
fleet consists of not just vehicles but also people, to
Okay.
and who will deliver these couriers and be on location at the right time, the right place. So this problem space is a very complex logistically, and because we are not just present in one city, we are present in 250 plus cities
Okay.
in 13 different countries. So So you can imagine if you are getting millions of orders per month in 30 in different countries, in different geography, in different
Uh-huh.
cities, with
Uh,
such high order volumes, it
uh,
can it is not a really um, uh, a simple problem to solve, to be able to plan all of this uh, uh, really really precisely, right? So
uh,
so that is the problem space in which Just Eat operates, and all
oh,
the problems that we have to solve are basically stem from this problem of delivering millions of orders per month to um, so many hundreds of thousands of customers in this geography, right? And so the methods. So one of the problems, for example, that I and my team works on is forecasting the uh, the number of orders we are going to get at a really granular level, 15-minute level, in each of these regions in which we operate, which is 250 plus regions, for the next 2 weeks, so that our planners can plan the right number of couriers and staff them based
okay,
on their availabilities to deliver these orders to the customers, right?
okay,
So this is the forecasting problem that we have to build models for, machine
okay,
learning models for,
okay.
to estimate these kind of order volumes. And of course, since these order volumes are will vary widely across cities, so we
Yes,
have to be able to predict all of those correctly, or of course within some margin of error. No model will be 100% accurate,
yes,
but this these estimates are then used by planners to staff, couriers based on their availabilities, which they give to us, because
okay.
ours is not a freelancer kind of a model
Yes, yes,
in
yes.
which we have
So
we,
there
we have
are
employees on a
actually a lot
payroll.
of technicalities involved here, like a lot of technical issues, right? So one which strikes my mind is, so what sort of dependent explanatory variables you're looking at here when you actually do forecasting.
Right, right. So basically, within forecasting, we have uh, um, uh, two sub problems. One is forecasting order volume, and
Ah,
the other is forecasting the courier demand.
okay.
So order volume is all about the actual orders, not exactly actuals. There's again a complexity involved here. Is this uh, you have something We have something called potential orders. Potential orders are uh, orders that you expect to get if there are no closings or down rankings, which is again something I'll have to explain, but let's keep it simple for
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
and
yeah. Keep it simple.
just talk about actual orders.
Yes,
And actual orders are the orders that you expect in any time interval, like say a 15-minute or 30-minute or an hourly interval, daily interval, whatever that might be.
yes.
When we do predictions at 15 minutes, and that becomes a why. That is what we want to be able to predict.
Okay. And
And
so obviously the timing, also matters because people are going to order their lunch between 12 and 2. So, and so let's say, the population density, that also, can be one explanatory variable, right? The number of orders, right?
Uh, yes and no. So yeah, you're right that during the lunch interval, people would order more. So that is definitely a feature which we use, which is basically the timestamp and date timestamp related features, right?
Okay.
Which help you explain that trend, that pick up in orders,
Okay.
uh, and downfall, after say 2 or 3 p.m. But like population density, what you are saying is definitely a factor in
Yes.
determining the overall uh, uh, magnitude of orders we'll get in a
Yes.
city. However, that is something which is not changing for a city over a period of time. So because the population density of Berlin will not change, right,
Okay,
from this week to the next. So that doesn't explain the variability in the orders itself, right?
okay,
So at a macro level, yes, population density uh, does play a role. But what it really helps, where it does play a role, is actually determining your profitability. Okay,
okay,
like if you have a city with a high density, it will there are network effects, and you will be able to um, deliver orders, and you very efficiently, because there'll not be a lot of time between people delivering one order and getting assigned the next one, because
okay,
the new restaurant, the new person who is ordering the next order in queue is is uh, uh, is is in close proximity to where the driver would be located at the end of the previous order, right? So
okay.
and this all of this adds up to have a high efficiency, highly efficient logistic network.
Yeah.
So yeah, to your point, basically, so it explains profitability, but it does not help in predicting the estimate accuracy of the order volume estimates themselves.
So when it comes to predicting, I would assume that the method that you are following is gradient boosted trees, right?
Right.
Which is one
Yeah.
way of, one way where this, I mean, one way of, making a decision tree. The other is a random forest, right? But you all are doing gradient boosted, which uses a method called boosting. And in that,
Yes.
you will combine weak learners
Right.
sequentially, right? So, can
Right.
you, Rishabh, explain in a very simple manner so that any layman can, just like get a some sort of understanding as to what this is, about
Right. Okay.
weak
Yeah.
learners.
So
Yes,
I'll explain it with an analogy. Okay.
yes,
So so suppose you have you are preparing for your degree. Okay. For your
yes,
final exams, and there are say five subjects, or eight subjects, or whatever, right? Some number of subjects, right? And you
yes.
want an overall aggregate of say 75% at the
Okay.
end of it. That is your goal, that is your
Yes,
objective. Okay.
yes,
and and you have five different subjects, right? You and of course these subjects are related to one another, but you still have to study them separately and devote time to them separately, right?
yes,
So so basically what you will do is you will know what you're good at, which subjects are you good at, what are your strengths, and what are
yes,
your weaknesses, right?
yes, yes,
We all of us know it at to some degree, but we only find more about it as we practice, right? As we read more of in one subject, we know, okay, this is something I'm getting, I already know. I think I can learn it fairly quickly, so you
yes,
would not spend as much time to it.
yes,
But and try to pick up the weak subject where you have
yes.
no clue what's going on. You'll ask, you will get some help, and try to basically devote more time to it. And
Technically, that is you are actually optimizing your time, right?
exactly. So you are basically at each point in time,
Yes,
what you will be doing is, say every day or every week, you will be reflecting and seeing, okay, where are you at in all of these five domains,
okay,
and how much progress you have made
okay,
now in each subject, right? And
yes,
then you will look at where are you really weak at, and try to double down on that, so that uh, that doesn't remain your weakest subject.
yes,
You
okay,
will be more confident of your performance in the
okay,
final exam if you are equally good.
Yes.
in all
You
those subjects,
basically you're
right?
trying to reduce the variance. That also is like, one way of saying it technically, right?
Exactly. So you don't want to score zero in one and 100 in another,
Yes, yes,
because
yes.
because that will basically, there are also some constraints you'll be operating under, right?
Yes,
Because you don't want to fail a few subjects, because then you will end up having to put more time later, right,
yes,
to clear
yes,
that backlog again. So you don't want to be that person. So that kind of optimization is what is needed. So now let's get to the gradient boosted trees, and I'll use this example
yes,
uh, to explain what GBTs do actually. Okay,
yes.
so so again, like GBTs also, gradient boosted trees also have an objective function which you can set as a modeler. You can say,
Okay.
okay, I want to minimize the the RMSC, for example, or mean absolute error, or
Yes,
whatever metric that you fancy. You want
yes,
to minimize that, and you want to be able to, and of course it depends on your business problem, but once you have defined that,
yes.
that becomes your objective, right? Like
Okay,
our goal in that other example is to say score certain number of, maximize our score basically, right? uh,
okay.
so 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 that becomes your objective, and once your objective is set, and as you talked about the why, the variable that we want to be able to estimate,
Hmm.
we have clarity about that as well. We now, what we do is we have features. Features are basically uh, the building blocks of the model, which have to be given certain weights, um, so
Okay,
that we can estimate the why.
okay.
Yeah. The So in order to be able to give weights to all these features, we
Uh-huh.
need to be able to understand how come up with a simple model first, right?
Hmm.
Which is exactly what GPTs do first. For example, if they want to predict, say, the order volume for the next week, uh, 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 we will predict that, okay, the order volume will be, say, a certain average the next week, right? Say
Okay.
it will be, let's do it at the daily level. It will be, say, 1,000 orders every day,
Oh,
for some random city, right? uh,
okay.
so 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 you will and suppose you already have the the true values for that. Now
Yes.
you can find out the difference, the which is basically the so-called pseudo residuals of the model. You'll try to
Yeah, so I
find
think
that
you
out.
improve upon the pseudo residuals, right? I mean, that is the objective.
Exactly. So in the first pass, you build a
But then,
simple model.
also one related point which is very important is that as you do it, you actually run the risk of overfitting the model also, right? And you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll come to that later, because that is something which we could do, but once we have these pseudo residuals in the first pass,
Uh-huh.
we basically try we calculate them after building a simple model, which in our case we just built and used an average for the
Hmm.
estimate. Uh,
Okay.
then and then for at each point, at each record, you will say, okay, what was our error like? For some days it will be really high, right? And some
Ah,
days it will be closer. So basically what we'll do in the next model is that we'll give more weight to those records which have a higher error value, with higher difference from the truth. And this is also like for example, the subject you are weaker on, you'll give it more time, right?
yes.
Similarly, you will give more weight to these records in your data set, which will be, of course, where you'll be making more errors.
Okay.
And that is this fundamental idea of boosting. Boosting comes in because we call it boosting because we are boosting the previous model, which weak learner is nothing but a simple model. It is called weak because it is not trying to do everything. It is not. It is only focused on reducing the residuals
Uh,
where the performance is really bad. It is just does one thing really really well. Okay,
okay.
that is why it is called the weak learner. So
Because there
and
is
when
just
you
one split to the decision tree, right?
yeah, exactly. Of course, it is not necessary that there'll always be just a single split. It could be a few levels deep,
Okay,
but it won't try to model the entire the entire
structure.
problem space. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, exactly. So it will only focus on a part of the problem and
okay,
become really really good at it. It's like it's specializing in solving the hard problems, and then as it learns to solve the harder cases,
uh-huh,
you'll automatically your overall predictions will start getting better, because what you are doing is adding up the predictions
uh-huh,
in a weighted way, of course, for all the weak learners eventually to get the final prediction. So that happens through something called the learning rate. Basically, whatever prediction the first tree made plus uh, the learning rate times the prediction of the next tree, and so on. So the next what the learning rate really does is that it does not give equal weight, uh, uh, like a very high weight to the next weak learners predictions. It gives some weight, but it so that it doesn't so that the tree cannot uh, overfit, basically. So
okay,
it is conservative. It makes takes a conservative update. It takes a conservative update to the previous estimate. Okay,
okay,
and as it finds more and more evidence
uh-huh,
of in the data
uh,
about these errors, it
uh,
will make more and more conservative estimates and updates, and that is how it gets better. So to your point, you were saying, right, it could overfit easily the
uh,
so that is
uh,
how where the learning rate really makes the difference. Of course, there are other hyperparameters
yeah,
which are also used, like the depth of the tree, for example, and so on. This is how uh, the gradient boosted trees sequentially generate uh, the 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 best prediction possible.
yeah. So it is, known that the gradient boosting trees are actually more accurate than random forest, right? Uh,
Right, right. Because random forests do this in parallel,
uh,
and there's no update happening. If you know about Bayesian econometrics, this is a Bayesian way of doing it. Uh,
okay,
uh, so you basically, as you gather more data knowledge, you then incrementally update your beliefs. You
yeah,
don't
exactly, yeah, yeah,
form your beliefs in one
yeah.
shot.
You have,
So
yeah,
that is the parallel with Bayesian econometrics.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So, any
So
other
yeah,
point apart from this, Rishabh?
yeah. I mean, yeah. So basically, random forests tend to overfit more because they uh, what they do is they use all of the information, uh,
Okay,
or in some cases they you can sample, but the point is that you get the final outcome through a majority vote, and that can be highly biased depending upon the data set. uh, and that is why they don't perform so well, because there is no weighting of the
okay,
these residuals
okay.
at each step. So
Okay.
sort of the gradient boosting corrects it at every next step. Every tree that is created is a is giving more weight to the errors of the uh, from the previous
So that is like one of the
that is
major
its yeah,
advantages gradient boosting.
exactly, that is the major advantage of
Okay.
why gradient boosted trees are more accurate.
Okay.
um,
Yeah, Rishabh. So, I've actually given a very detailed explanation of, how gradient boosted trees are, structured, and, in what way they are different and perhaps better than, random forest. Okay. Now,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. They're
yeah,
they're more widely used, definitely, than random forest and industry for
it's
this reason.
so it
Yeah.
will not be erroneous to claim that in terms of the machine learning toolkit, they are like just mentioned, they are actually the most widely used, right? Uh,
Yeah. So in machine learning, for tabular data sets, yes, most of the Kaggle competitions, if you see, which are
yes.
on tabular data sets, you would see usually the winners are use the gradient boosted tree methods, and you can find implementations in very popular libraries like XGBoost and
Yes.
LightGBM by Microsoft. So it is a well accepted standard, but of course there are even more powerful methods for unstructured data sets, especially the transformers, for example, which has been a turning point in the history of deep learning research,
Okay.
because all the new methods, which are basically neural networks, right? Neural networks based on
Artificial
um,
neural networks, right? Those are
yeah, based on
little,
transformers
yeah, yeah.
are actually the most accurate on uh, unstructured data sets, right? Like if you want to create large language models, or which are
Yes.
called LLMs, and Chat GPT, for example, if you have heard of it.
Generally, these are non-linear models,
Yeah, these are models. Yeah, even GPT will be a non-linear model. Even deep learning models are non-linear, because yeah, you're trying to model hundreds and hundreds of thousands of parameters, right? They're
yes.
finding weights for all of them, and these weights and biases help you generate the most accurate estimates. So of course it is not um, um, yeah, they are yeah, highly non-linear, and but yeah, but the point being that the transformers, a set of
Hmm.
methods, those are the most accurate on unstructured data sets. And if you Google it, you'll find out the
Okay.
about various papers, especially this one called "Attention is All You Need."
Yes.
Is the path breaking paper done by several scientists, but the main author is often is an Indian. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, Ashish Vaswani.
Okay.
So yeah, but we can do a discussion on this maybe some other time. I think
Yeah, but
it
yeah, so one related point, when we are, talking about nonlinear models is the foundation of any predictive, analysis is actually linear models. So until and unless you do not understand the linear modeling very well, you are not going to understand the non-linear models, right? Because to be able to
right,
understand,
definitely. Yeah,
yes,
linear regression and logistic regression are definitely the
yes,
basics and fundamentals of
yes, any machine
all of
learning, yeah,
modeling. Yes, if you
yes,
don't understand that, you
yeah.
will never understand
The
yeah.
non-linear
So
models are little technical, mathematical, sophisticated, And
More,
so,
yeah, exactly. So there are still, there are parts of it. You basically, if you learn each of the parts, then you can
yes,
put them together.
yes,
So if you learn, what makes a logistic regression work,
yes,
you actually apply the same concepts when you learn about activation functions in deep learning networks.
yes,
Okay, so this that if you don't understand what a logistic network does,
yes,
logistic regression does, you would not be able to understand activation functions either. So yeah, it's a stepping stone to learn more sophisticated methods,
yeah.
which you need for
Basically, the point
tougher
is to,
problems.
get your foundation rock solid. Because until and unless your
Exactly. It is
foundation is rock
worth it
solid,
is worth spending a lot
yes,
of time on
yes,
making your fundamentals very, very solid,
yes,
because that will serve you all your life.
exactly,
If you're in this career, it will
yes,
serve you throughout. So and that is what differentiates the best experts versus
yeah.
those people who are average, is that they have their fundamentals really
But
strong.
one point which I also need to bring out, and given that, both you and I actually have technical background in econometrics, okay.
Hmm.
But this is more for those who actually do not have the technical backgrounds. So one
Hmm.
word of encouragement, or should I say, I mean, I don't know how should I put this, but then the point being here is that if you do not I mean, if you did not learn mathematics at school level, or let's say you
Hmm.
didn't have maths at your college level, then you can still, learn all the skill set provided you are willing to put in the effort, right? Because it is not the case if I have not, learned mathematics or statistics, then it will be impossible for me. Because this is mainly for those listeners who do not, have the prerequisite, knowledge. So any words,
Hmm.
Rishabh, about this?
Yeah. So so it is hard for me to say this because I did have say at least a background in mathematics, and
Yes,
I did
yes,
understand it well. So it's hard for me to if I did not have it, I could have given a better answer. But what I believe is uh, that you should be motivated by uh, uh, the kind of problems that you will be able to solve, right? And
exactly. Yes,
everything else, I think, is a means to that
exactly.
to the end.
Yes,
So if you're motivated to you know create something
yes,
for it could be like, say, something like chatbot, right? You might not have the
yes,
mathematical foundations, but you
yes,
can learn it step by step over a period of time to
yes,
do that. It's not like impossible. Everybody
yes,
has to start somewhere. Of
exactly.
course, having some knowledge in the fundamentals helps to learn more quickly.
Yes,
It's just that you might take more time,
yes,
but it really depends on the effort you put in, and also if you have a good mentor who can guide you through that path,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
exactly.
if you go on your own in a jungle, you have more chances of getting lost, I would say.
You are,
Versus
you actually, you can only get lost when you start, because if you do not have good mentors, then you will not, you think you have started, but you have not started anywhere, right? So I
yeah,
know that
yeah.
having a good mentor is makes, all the difference. Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, it is hard to because yeah, we live in the information age. There's so much uh information coming to
Yes,
us
yes,
from
yes.
all sides. We don't know what should we use and what we should ignore,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah.
is one of the fundamental challenges, I think, of the information age.
Yeah, and
We
now that,
Yeah.
Rishabh, you've actually, worked both in India and, Germany. So,
Right.
so you, can throw some light in terms of what are the pros and cons of working in India and, in, Germany. So, is there any
Right.
difference? Yes, yes,
Sure. So yeah, there you can answer this question at different levels,
yes,
um, but So I'll start with the very, uh, uh, at a very high level, I would say uh, what the pros of, say, moving to Germany would be, one, the culture of working is just different
Okay.
from
Okay.
India. I'm not, and of course, it depends on where you're moving from, right? If you were working, say, in a MNC in India, say in an American company, or you are coming from an Indian service-based company, it would depend. So I was working in a American service-based company, right?
Yes.
Not an American product-based company. And
Yes.
so all these kinds of companies have different cultures, and again there are more nuances to culture at each of these places depending upon what you're selling, etc.
Ah,
So it is hard to generalize, but the point is that, as you said right earlier in the interview about these developed countries being very data driven. So
yeah.
what I really like about Germany is that they're very process oriented and rules oriented, so
Yes.
that can make your life less like stress free, basically, right?
Yes.
Because the expectations will be defined more clearly,
Yes.
and people, there'll be not many loose ends in India. It can often happen that you had set certain expectations, but those expectations just evolve and change organically over the course of the project itself, you know and sort of, what you agreed on, sort of, you just, that is where all the stress comes from, because you're just not aligned uh,
More
well.
systematic, right? Your
Yeah, so in Germany, yeah, like the culture is designed to reduce your stress and
rule
not
based.
increase it. So
Yeah.
so so that is a fundamental difference. I think that can also help you, have find a better work-life balance, which again is something you will see a lot
Yes.
when you work in with a German company. So yeah, so that is one major difference. Then the second is pay. Pay is significantly different.
Okay.
If you work the same job in India,
Mm-hmm.
like, again, it really depends on, because I came here 4 years ago. Now, after the pandemic, I think the salaries have increased. There are more Indian startups. The product-based companies have much more funding. It is a different situation now. I
Okay.
can't, like, those, the pay is could be much higher. I know that it is much higher in India now, and of course, as your experience increases, it does increase. So it is, nothing stays the same, but the point being that, if you are getting a job with less stress and
Mm-hmm.
with higher money,
Mm-hmm.
and a better work culture,
Yes.
um, most of the time, I'm not saying this will always be the case, but then it is worth considering moving to Germany, at least for the short term. You might not like it, and for other
Yes.
reasons, but it is worth experiencing, right? And it
Yes.
will broaden your mind to new ways of thinking, working, etc. And that itself is the greatest learning, because yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
In fact, with technology now increasingly, becoming accessible across, both developed and developing countries, right? So,
right,
there
right,
are two
right,
aspects to this. One is that if you have the skill set, technology will make it possible for you to work from anywhere in India also, because the gig economy makes it possible for you, right? Because
right,
companies are also looking to outsource most of their work. Because I have actually worked with companies based out of India, and they pay you well, but the point is that you need to have the skills. And the other related point in terms of, when you were talking about, life there being more rule based. So even in India now, the technology is now being embraced at an exponential speed
Right.
across all the domains. That will mean that more data is being collected, right, stored, okay, generated, right. That will mean that there will be a lot of demand for people who have the skill set, right.
Yeah. There'll be demand all across the world. There's no doubt about it. Wherever there is data, people will be needed who are skilled. So it's a global phenomenon. It has nothing to do with say Europe, America, or India,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
uh,
exactly, exactly.
so the point is that you focus on the fundamentals and yeah, sharpening your skills, as you rightly said,
Yes.
and everything else is secondary. Those things can come in later. But yeah, but it is good to know what
Those
kind of
things will come in
opportunities
later,
are.
provided you have the skills. So it's like what you are saying, it's
Yeah.
actually focused on, the learning part. And in economics, there is a very famous concept called learning by doing. Until you do it
Mm,
yourself, you're not going to learn.
mm.
You and I can
Yeah.
appreciate this, because you have done research, right? In the sense you have written an MPhil thesis. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
right.
Yeah,
So
so yeah, that is true for learning in any field.
yes,
Learning by doing. It is no matter what, if it's a complex profession, there
exactly.
you will have to practice, and that is true for football, like sports, to
Yes,
surgery, to every
exactly.
field, right,
Anything,
which is
exactly.
applied. So
Exactly.
so so yeah, those were the pros, and there are also cons. There are more pros, of course, but these are two major ones. Then there are cons, of course. When you live abroad, you have to, yeah, stay away from family and
Yeah,
friends that you had over so many years,
yeah,
that you don't have access to suddenly anymore, right?
yeah,
So there's this mental um cost to that, because you won't meet your friends
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
years and years, right?
exactly.
Even in India, it might not be possible, but at least if you're in the same city, you can meet. But when you live in another country or continent,
Yes.
that is something you are giving up on, and it is not a trivial cost, which can be easily ignored.
Yeah,
But of course, if you travel back every year, you can try to meet up, but then you only have limited time when you're back home also.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's a trade-off. Um, but you can make new friends here, from new cultures, learn
yes,
about how people from all across the world are so similar in so many ways.
yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and that is very nice. You get to, eat, I think, cuisines from more countries than
Yes, yes,
ever before,
yes,
which is great. You get to travel
yeah,
around the continent like you do in India, so
yes,
which is also great. And most importantly, I think you really um, understand what did you leave behind. Like you, I honestly, I think I understood about India more after I
yes,
came
exactly.
to Germany than
Yes,
I
yes,
understood in my, like, 27 years of my life when I lived there.
yes,
So so because yeah, the how big a miracle India is we often underestimate. Like
yes,
how great the, you know the Hindu philosophy, or the Vedic culture, the Bhagavad
yes,
Gita,
yes,
all of
yes,
those things, all of these things you would not value. Uh, so I would not have valued so much, because sort of when you live in India, you're drowned in that
you take it
noise.
for granted actually, so you don't understand the value of it until and unless you have forced to move away from it, right.
Yeah. So you understand it, like, at a deeper level. Of
Yes,
course, that doesn't happen with everyone, but for me, it did happen, luckily. So I'm grateful that yeah, living abroad gave me that perspective. But
yes,
Yeah, for different people will have different journeys, but
Yes,
yeah, so there are, and depending upon your perspective, you what might be a pro to me might be a con to you, someone else, right? So
exactly.
so
No,
it
so for some people, the benefit might outweigh the cost. You are one of them, right?
yeah.
Who's for whom, let's say, the benefit, outweighs the cost, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, that is what I believe currently, ma'am. But
uh,
might not, that
yeah.
might
But
be
anyhow,
not the case forever.
Rishabh,
Yeah.
thank you, so much, for
Yes, yes. Thanks, Manan, for having me.
for firstly, giving a detailed and a very simplistic, like explaining it in a very simple manner, the gradient boosted trees. And secondly, talking about, the work culture, and also, how data science toolkit understanding is now, very important, and the pros and cons of, working both in India and in Germany. Yeah, Rishabh. Thank you
Right,
so much.
right. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me. And uh, yes, leave your questions in the comments if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need
yeah. Thank
anything
you.
more from me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Rishabh.
you.
Thank you, huh?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bye.